Hi everyone, now that you've understood what a DTM is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of the DTM? So one advantage is that it's simple and generalized. It's generalized between countries based on their historical patterns. So based on France, based on the UK, based on South Korea, it follows a generalized trend of this population graph over here. So it's constant and it increases and it starts to flatten out a bit. So it's understandable. If you look at this diagram itself, it's also understandable. There's also a flexible time scale. So as you can see here, this axis over here is just time. There's no fixed 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. It allows variability for your countries to move through your DTM. And also it helps with planning. So Bangladesh is in the boundary between stage 2 and stage 3. So they can use this to interpret what might happen in the future based on historical patterns of other countries. So let's say they're over here, they can prepare for what to do when the country will eventually end up over here. Generally. So that's a advantage of that. But the disadvantage is that it doesn't account into migration. So the USA, a large proportion of its population comes from migration, and its birth rate is also declining, but yet its population is relatively constant and sometimes increasing. So the DTM doesn't take account to migration, even though it is a large determinant of your population. It also doesn't take into account wars, famines, maybe pandemics, such as COVID-19, or anything that maybe China has been affected. So China during the Great Famine in the 1960s, there were a bunch of deaths, and they were in stage 2 at the time, but where the increase in birth rates was a pandemic, a baby boom after the pandemic, or an increase in death rates after the pandemic, or during the pandemic. So there's no availability of context to be put inside the DTM. Assumes no reversal. So Russia, after the breakup of the USSR, they did have an increase in birth rates for a while. So they kind of went from here back to here. But again, it assumes no reversal. It assumes that you have to move from here, then to here, then to here, then to here, then to here, no going back. And also based on industrialized countries. So all of this data is basically based on European kind of industrialized countries during the 1700s, 1800s. But what about countries right now, like those in Africa, like Ghana, like the DRC, that may not have to go through industrialization, might just jump into maybe tourism or tertiary, or have received a lot of aid? What happens to those countries? Is it applicable for those countries? We don't know. So it always depends. And also, it assumes there's equal timescale for each stage. So as you can see here, there's equal width for all of the stages. It assumes like this, let's say you have a timescale of 500, assumes this 100, 100, 100, 100, even though generally over here, it takes you millions of years, maybe thousands of years. This one will start to shrink and stuff. So, but with this equal width, it assumes no variability for stages. So that kind of counters your flexible timescale for your advantages. And lastly, stage 5 and the future. So the stage 5 over here, we don't know. It's based on predictions and stuff, because the only countries that are going through this is Japan and Italy, with no other countries going beyond their aging population with a population decline. So beyond that, it's not really clear, and stage 5, it's not really clear itself if countries can do anything about it, or will it just be a continuous trend and our entire population will collapse. So these are the advantages and limitations of your DTM. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.